Hello there, Capricorn, and welcome to your October forecast. I hope that this month is getting off to a really great start. Good to see you again as well. Just a reminder that every month you can use these readings for your sun, your rising, and your moon. And if you don't happen to know all three, just stick with your birth sign and that should be enough. Now, I'd like to start off with a little bit of exciting news. I haven't yet reached it, but I'm getting very close to 100,000 subscribers. And I wanted to just really give a nice emphatic thank you and a big hug to everybody for all the support that you've been giving me. And I wouldn't be there without you. So I just wanted to say thank you. And also I wanted to announce that in support and in gratitude of that eventual milestone, which is coming, I will be doing a live video. And more to come on when that's happening. I'll probably post that live, or I'll do the live video within a week of hitting 100,000. So just keep an eye on this channel, and if you haven't already subscribed, that's a great way to keep in touch. Additionally, just speaking of support, if you would like to give back to this channel and just say thanks for all of the production that I put in from month to month, there are a couple ways you can do that. I'm going to put some information right here at the bottom of the video. There's also a link, the second link right below the, right above the comment section and beneath the video. Basically, you can help me out by joining me on Patreon, and that's a way to just sort of automatically give $1 per month for all 12 videos, or if you can do a one-time donation if that's something that you prefer. So either way is optional, but very much appreciated. So thank you also for that support if you would like to do that. Otherwise, liking, subscribing, and sharing is a great way to spread the word. So without any further delay, let's go ahead and get into the reason you all came here, what's coming through for this month. I begin each reading with channeled information. The way that I arrive at the channeled information is by selecting a deck of cards, meditating on what's coming through, and then I usually will write this down for each sign. As I was doing that for Capricorn, this was the message. Just make it to the finish line. You are your only competition. And what's really important about this message is that too often we spend a lot of time comparing ourselves in appearance, in status, in money, basically in almost everything to other people, whether it's a family member, a celebrity, a classmate, a peer. And while that's kind of human nature, just to sort of figure out who we are, where we are, how we're doing, the truth of the matter is sometimes we lose that connection with our higher self, and we forget that on a soul level, we set everything up, I should say the main milestones in our life. So the way that we look, where we live, some of these things were actually created as a sort of syllabus, if you will, for what we need to experience in this life. All that matters is that we show up every day and get the most out of each experience. If there are certain things that we are driven to do, then that's great, and you can experience that as a part of your soul's journey. But know that simply by learning, surviving, experiencing, and paying attention to each and every part of your life, you're already sort of succeeding. So I want you to know that what's important is you get the most out of it, and if you commit to doing something, finish it, and that's okay. It doesn't matter if you do it first, second, third, as long as you do it and you give it 100%. So just trying to reset expectations and goals as more of a self-oriented path rather than you versus someone else. A little competition is good. Too much competition, it kind of destroys the whole purpose for what you're trying to learn. Make sense? All right, let's go ahead now and take a look at the bigger messages for this month. As I'm just about to look at a Celtic cross here. I'm going to be quiet at this point because, like you, I want to observe each card, its position, and any sort of additional information that might come through as I'm looking at it. After that, we'll go through each card, and then I'll expand the forecast to look at health, wealth, love, and destiny. So I'm going to pull the camera down now, give this a good shuffle, and like I said, I'm going to be quiet until I've pulled everything. In addition to what you see in front of you, I also like to add one more card. To me, this is one of the most important elements here. It's going to connect everything, highlight the the most beneficial and also the most challenging elements of the month as well. So let's see what is coming through in the way of a catalyst for your sign. And we have the key. So what's interesting about this is really what I'm seeing is this is a discovery month. And we are not always certain sometimes what's going to happen when we unlock something. So this is a month where at its best, you're going to sort of discover the unknown. Sometimes the negative aspect of that card is you might be searching for a solution and missing sort of the easiest thing or the easiest way to get to it. So don't overcomplicate things, and don't be afraid to sort of open up the unknown and see what's there. Let's look at each card. We'll get some more information on both the channeled and the catalyst, but I really want to get to the messages because there's some exciting stuff here. Right at the center, we have the Nine of Vessels, or the Nine of Cups. The Nine of Cups is typically a good card. It's showing that when it comes to your overall mood, it's in a heightened place. This card was reversed, which is showing that for some of you, there's a lot of energy coming through that is either pulling your emotions or pulling at your emotions, maybe testing you a little bit. It could be other people in your life that are trying to sort of see how far they can push you. So what's interesting here is if we look at the illustration, we see a man meditating. It's really important for you to find your Zen or a way to connect to that quiet space, that place where you're okay. And so that even when things seem sort of topsy-turvy or there's a lot going on, that you can maintain a clear head. And in fact, what we have here is a reimagination, or a reimagining, I should say, of the Judgment card here, the Great Bear. You'll see that he's sort of protecting this passageway, and there's a little bit of a defensive stance on this. What I want to kind of see as a correlation, or help you see as a correlation between Nine of Cups, that meditation, and Judgment is clear and open mind. And also trying to not get too defensive if somebody does their best to get under your skin. Because that could be something that creates havoc or gets you back into that emotionally sort of unpredictable zone that I'm seeing with the Nine of Cups, and the Nine of Cups in reverse in particular. As we look at your deep past, it looks like a lot of you have been doing some work to help understand maybe issues of abandonment, self-worth. For some of you, you might also be working through some financial troubles or some fear around money. So the Five of Stones or the Five of Pentacles can deal with all of that. The thing that I think that you can take away from this card is, one, you're not alone. And in fact, a way to sort of get away from this is to start to lean on people that you can trust. The more that you either internalize or pull yourself away from the help that really wants to be there, the more that you create that sense of, I'm in trouble, this isn't going to work, I don't feel good. So this is a time to reach out. Also, as I look at your near future, there's some encouragement because we have the Wheel of Fortune here. And as I look at this card, it's a very sort of summer-based theme as well. Some of you might be on a sort of 8 to 10 month journey towards financial stability. It's not going to happen overnight, but it's happening. So give it time. And just like we see with this, I think it's a loom here or whatever, it takes time for you to weave and to create things. So that tapestry of economic success, it doesn't happen overnight. It's due to a lot of time, a lot of energy, good habits. So whether you already have it and you're worried about the future, just keep up the good habits if you have them. And if you need to change or improve habits, know that you can do that. And we're looking here with your crowning card of the Sun, 1 year, full recovery, but even sooner than that, because I'm looking at next summer and I'm looking at this from the perspective of Northern Hemisphere. So just to put it into months, about 8 to 10 months, it's within reach. All right, as we look at recent past and what's affecting you towards the beginning of this month, we have here the Ace of Arrows or the Ace of Swords. And with the Ace of Swords in reverse, some of you may be feeling diminished energy or vitality, or feeling like it's just kind of hard to get your motor running, if you will. So I want you to focus on taking care of your mind and body, doing things to sort of open up the flow of energy. So obviously exercise and cardiovascular exercise in particular is going to be important. The meditation is great, but you have to do something physical to pull the energy up and down as well. If you practice Kundalini Yoga, there's some great exercises that help you pull it. I think Sat Kriya is a way to kind of pull it all the way through. There's some different ones that you can work on. So just make sure that you're combining both metaphysical and physical in order to open up vitality. The other thing with the Ace of Arrows or the Ace of Swords in reverse is a general note for you to just basically get action started. So if you're thinking of doing something but procrastinating, make some sort of an effort to get some momentum going. Pick up the phone, send an email, talk to someone, have someone that keeps you accountable, and that's going to be key. In your crowning position, talking a little bit more about the sun. This card happens, or appears I should say, when there's a focus on your charisma, your energy, and your ability to be magnetic. With this as a crowning card, it's very favorable. What it's showing me is that even if you're going through some internal challenges that we might see here with the Nine of Cups in reverse, outwardly people may not know it. You're putting on a really good sort of show or wearing a good mask. So I want to give you some credit on that. Make sure that you're taking care of yourself. With the sun upright, there's typically not a lot of negative connotations. Reversed, sometimes I see a focus on self. Upright, it actually looks like you're open, you're ready, and your energy is in a very sort of welcoming state. So I don't feel like we have to put a lot more energy on this. The main thing I want you to continue to work on opening is your heart chakra. That's going to help with the healing that we saw in the Five of Pentacles earlier. Okay, let's take a look now at your ego this month. We have the Nine of Wands, which is quite good. Nine of Wands comes through when you have basically started to pay your dues. You've gone through some difficult tumults, some difficult experiences, and nonetheless, you're ahead of the game, basically. I told you earlier, it's not about comparing you to someone else. There's really not a sort of like a first, second, third place prize that you get when you leave this planet. But what you do get is an acknowledgement for the hard work, the perseverance, and the energy that you've put into not giving up. And that's what I see right now, is that you're actually doing a good job with that. There's a little bit of fatigue setting in. There always is with this particular card, and sometimes some impatience. So I'm encouraging you to keep your eye on what this is all about, your long-term goals, and realize it's also good to sometimes look over your shoulder and in retrospect realize, I've actually overcome a lot. Give yourself credit, celebrate the little victories. And again, they're your victories. It's not comparison to someone else. As we look at your environment card, we have here the Page of Arrows or the Page of Swords. And what's important with this is I think this is your chance to take possibly even some negative feedback or negative thoughts and turn them around. And internally, I want you to change the dialogue in your head, thinking I can do this or I am doing this. And then I want you to demonstrate to others that even if internally you're still sort of dealing with stuff, that you have this great ability to communicate and use your communication skills this month. Be direct, be open, have a big heart, because we're seeing that with the Sun card here. And if you do that, I think that great change can be accomplished here. Because when I'm looking at hopes, fears, and opportunities, we have what might possibly be my favorite death card. It's the journey. And what is the journey but it's an opportunity to pass through a portal and go somewhere else. So for many of you, if you're thinking of trying something new, it feels like you're right on the precipice of that. It feels like you're ready possibly to say goodbye to something or to someone. And I'm not seeing a lot of negative cards about this. It feels like it's almost like a graduation or something that feels like it's just an eventual end state to something that you've been doing. So if you've been working hard at a project, time to let it go. If you've been in a relationship and it's kind of falling apart, it's okay. There's not a lot that's holding you together, because I didn't get a sense of that here. If you're ready to just move, to quit, to try something new, that's what this is. Now I understand the key, and this is kind of your doorway. We had a couple allusions to doors here as well, one here at the center. So don't be afraid to take what you've learned, to take this desire and to move forward, and to kind of take that journey into the unknown. And that's what this is. When we're looking at your outcome card, it's really, really great. One of the better ones that I've seen this month. We have the Two of Wands, Two of Bows in this deck. And what's cool with this one is it's really about this sense of empowerment and opportunity. You have a couple of things that you could choose from in the future, but it's not like the Two of Swords. These are two good choices. You can go either way, and it feels like you're headed in the right direction. And so I want you to start focusing this month on planning on what you want to change, what you can facilitate in the way of, for some of you, changes with your money, changes with your location. It doesn't have to happen overnight. I'm seeing at least a 1-year cycle for some of you, but some of you may be ready in a couple of months here with the Two of Wands and the Death card here towards the end. So you are at the precipice of a big shift. It's a good one. It's one that you've earned. Don't be afraid to do it. Don't worry what other people think. Taking together all of these messages, it seems like it's a really good month for you. I will say that there is one element here of the Death card that I should acknowledge, which is some of you may be losing someone or something in your life, and it's a fear. It's in the fear area. And that's okay. That's something that we all have to deal with, mortality, whether it's our own mortality or someone that we love, a partner, a parent, a child, hopefully not. But it happens. All of these things are part of the cycle of life and death. So if you're going through this month, you want to really be kind to yourself. That could explain the Nine of Cups in reverse in the center. And grief is a process, and you have to give yourself time for that. So if that's the case, lean on people around you. Don't be afraid to talk. I think that's the most important thing. Just not always needing advice too, just allowing yourself to be heard. And so find either a friend, a confidant, or even a therapist that can be there for you in the way that you need that to be. But for the rest of you, I really think that this is about positive change and not being afraid to take that step into the unknown. Let's go ahead now and expand this forecast. We're going to look at health, wealth, love, and destiny. Starting off with your health card. A reminder that health includes your mind, your body, and your spirit. Let's see what the message is for you this month. Not surprisingly, we have a quest, and it's a reversal for this. So some of you might be taking sort of this windy road. Something came through in your health. It might be a positive surprise. It might be a negative surprise. What's important for you is to not give up, get the answers and the education and the information that you need. Some of you might be taking this journey with someone else. And again, I think that's why we see the Death card here. The interesting thing with this is it's not called death. It is called journey. So it's not a finite or a final card. There's a lot of ways this journey could go. It could be a U-turn. It could be towards an inevitable sort of end of things. But don't give up and get as much information as you want. When I see quest in the health area, I think that it's time to get second opinions if it's something about a sickness. Now, for those of you that are healthy, this is about possibly doing some traveling, taking a trip, walking, hiking, getting outside, trying to explore things, because we get bored as human beings. Just like sometimes when I'm doing all these readings in a day, my dog will just sit there looking at me like, when are you finished? Or can we go for our walk yet? The same thing is true for human beings. Don't be afraid to explore. It looks like this is a good time for you, and go for that if that's ringing true for you. Let's go ahead now and take a look at wealth. Wealth includes not just money, but your feelings towards money and also yourself. I always say it, but self-worth does equal net worth. So let's see what the message is for money. We have door to spirit. And so some of you might be at a new crossroads where you're realizing that a 9-to-5 job or just getting paid isn't enough, and you're feeling like you need to somehow combine what creates a sense of passion and inspiration in your life with what you do to make money. And so that could mean, leaving some sort of a predictable job and doing something that, or I should say conventional job, and doing something unconventional. And again, that goes back to that channeled information, which is try not to compare yourself to the Joneses, to use an old phrase. I don't even know if they're happy. So be happy about yourself. Don't worry about them. If you're feeling like this is a time for you to go more down a spiritual path, do it. There's a lot of opportunities now in health and well-being in Eastern medicine, so that might ring true for some of you. The rest of you, this is showing that spirit may have a way of working its way into your work. So you might have an unusual opportunity present itself through someone that you know that might be, again, a partner, a spiritual friend, something like that. Just be open. There's a bigger hand at work this month, and there might be something that comes through, an unexpected helping hand that opens up a new opportunity for you. So just keep your mind as open as possible when it comes to money. And let's take a look now at, we looked at health, we looked at wealth, let's look at love. A reminder that this isn't just about romantic relationships. It can also have to do with how you feel about friends, family, even how your own self-love is. So we have overcoming obstacles, and we have an illustration here that looks like Excalibur. And for some of you, what I'm getting with this is holding out for the one. Because it's almost like the ultimate story of waiting for one person, the perfect person, to pull that sword out. I was actually talking about Excalibur in an earlier sign. It's funny that it came up for you. So in an existing relationship, that caption says you can overcome anything. Take that at face value. If there's something going on and it's really trying your relationship, before you say no, before you walk away, see if you have what it takes. See if you have the strength to push through and make it work. For those of you that have just been having a hard time in your life, finding love or having success with love, well, you have what it takes. You still deserve to experience love. You just might have really high standards, and like Excalibur, the sword, you're waiting for someone who's worthy of your energy, and there's nothing wrong with that. So whatever side of the fence you're on, patience is key, and take it from there. So we looked at health, wealth, and love. Now we'll take a look at your destiny card. Destiny for me is sort of a GPS. It is a chance for you to exercise free will. It's an indicator or a litmus test of where you're headed and if it's successful. Let's see what the card has to say and how it relates to you. So your destiny card this month is Divine Order. It says, do what you feel is right. An important lesson is unfolding. Again, an echo of what I said earlier. It's about how you feel and why you're doing it, not so much what other people think. So really understand that you're being guided, respect what your wishes are, and allow other people to be inspired by you. Because I think ultimately you have the ability to be other people's inspiration. And that's a really cool thing. So embrace that if you will, and realize that you could actually be someone else's idol or someone that they're looking up to or aspiring to be. Let's go ahead now and review everything that we talked about. I'll try to bring it into a concise focus for you. As I said at the beginning, the important thing for you is completion and following through on what you said you would do. It doesn't matter how or when you get there, it's the process itself. If it feels good, you're doing it right. There's some unexpected doors that might open for you this month, particularly when it comes to, it looks like career and money. We'll, again, talk about that in a moment, but just be open, keep an open eye, and don't be afraid to take that path into the unknown, because even though it can be scary, it can also be really exhilarating. Let's pull the camera down and look at each card, its position and its meaning. Right at the center here, we have the Nine of Cups in reverse. I mentioned that for many of you, this could be some emotional tumults that you're dealing with, but that you have what it takes. You have that clarity of mind, and it's important to not let other people get under your skin, especially if they're trying to push your buttons. Really focus on not feeling isolated. Ask for help if you need it. Don't really spend too much time worrying about what wasn't in the past, because what I see is some eventual recovery and improvement. It might be 10 months or 8 months away, but over the course of the next year, I do see improvements with money. Just open yourself up to receiving assistance, if that makes sense. There is a need to focus on your vitality this month. So I mentioned when you're doing exercise, it's important to combine both your meditation and some cardiovascular exercise, or to do a certain yoga set that is really pulling both the metaphysical and physical together. Overall, your biggest and most advantageous card this month is this ability to really pull people into your energy. We have the Sun card here, which is, again, a very advantageous placement in the crowning position. Again, showing that you have a lot of charisma and a lot of energy that is going to work in your favor. As I mentioned, your financial success looks like it's improving over the course of the next year. I also see that you've been working really hard at not giving up. And this is an encouragement to still not give up, even though you might be feeling impatient or underappreciated. To that end, if that's happening, be willing and be able to use your voice to speak up. Others are ready to hear. And for those of you that might be dealing with grief or some sort of a circumstance that's pulling you down, it's also important for you to share that, to really get that out of your system in some way. So the opportunity, it's in your hopes, fears, and opportunity area, is the Death card. A beautifully illustrated one that's showing this isn't an exact destination, it's a journey. It's called the journey. So for some of you, this can be a journey into the unknown. For some people, it might be an end of something or a release of something. Whatever your journey is, honor it, and don't be afraid to look it in the eye and go through that, because I see death as a portal. I see it as a door that you want to open. And I see that what's on the other side is actually pretty good. Whatever you're dealing with, whatever you're moving through, we see a couple of years here of growth, of opportunity on the horizon. You have some choices to make, and that's really the big opportunity this month, is some soul searching, some planning, and looking ahead. As we look at your expanded forecast, quite literally making sure that you get out and explore the world with the Quest card for health. Also for some of you, a new journey towards being healthy or trying something different. And for some of you, there might be some unexpected thing that you're dealing with, and this is the universe sort of challenging you to be open and to kind of go along with it and see what you need to learn from that. When we looked at wealth, this is where I think the wild card exists this month. You might hear from someone unexpectedly. There might be some sort of a weird cosmic connection because we have that spirit in there. So just be open-minded, and perhaps if you're looking to change things up, help can come in unexpected places. For love, if you're going through a hard time, you might have what it takes to move through it. Remembering, again, with the caption here, you can do whatever you kind of put your mind to. Also, if you're really picky, that might be why things are taking so long. Nothing wrong with that, but acknowledge that high standards sometimes require a lot of patience. Your Destiny card is all about doing what you feel is right, which really harkens back to what I said initially. It's all about following your heart and then just really completing things, making sure that you honor your own goals and your own journey. If you do that, you're already, quote unquote, ahead of the game or winning or going to be happy when this whole human experience is finished. So take your time, enjoy it, and you're the only one, again, that you're competing against. So hold yourself up to your own standards, and if you're doing that, you're fine. So that brings this monthly reading to a close. I hope it gave you the insight that you needed to figure out what you should focus on, what you shouldn't focus on. If you ever want to talk a little bit more in depth with whatever it is that you're experiencing, especially those of you that might be going through a loss or a big change, I'm here for you. You can check out the first link and see if the rates and availability work for you. Otherwise, if you just want to say thanks for the videos that I do every month, you can give back. I mentioned at the beginning, Patreon is a great way, so is my website. But these are optional, and honestly, if you like, share, and subscribe, that also means a lot and makes a difference here. Finally, just to stay in touch with me, feel free to check out that third link. It'll connect you to my Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, newsletter, and of course, YouTube channel. So thank you so much for all of the above. And now I like to end each video with gratitude and also just an overarching purpose for what we're focusing on each month. The gratitude is that you continue to show up each month and develop, work on yourself, and seek more clarity. And this month I'm using a crystal to kind of symbolize this, but I think that the reason that we show up each month is it's kind of like these facets. We learn more about ourselves, and then like the clarity that we see here, we seek out to hold more light, to be able to understand things more, to be clearer. And I'm hoping that I'm part of that journey for you, and I know that this is my journey too. So don't give up and realize that this crystal that we're looking at, probably took thousands or hundreds of thousands of years to get as clear as it is. So don't expect something to happen overnight. That's why we keep showing up. That's why we keep working on this. So thank you so much for allowing me to be part of your journey. I wish you much love and light. And I think your big message this month is to not be afraid of the unknown, to know that there are some opportunities on the horizon and that there's the guiding hand of Spirit that may come in and help you in unexpected ways this month. Even if you have to go down a road that is unexpected or scary, you're going to have help. So be strong, be bright. I wish you much love and light now and always. See you soon.